It all started one fateful night with a woman and child seeking sanctuary at the Duncan shelter. They arrived at Duncan shelter, desperate for refuge, but the owner turned them away cold-hearted. He offered flimsy excuses, claiming he already had too many mouths to feed. Then the woman offered a silver coin, a bribe, enough to sway the greedy man's decision. Greed won. Inside, he showed them to their meager room. Under the cover of darkness, he postponed the shelter's rules and fees until morning. With that, he left them be. The woman, Helen, was left alone with the child. Helen helped the child onto the bed, her heart heavy. A wave of sorrow washed over her, seeing the child's plight. So young to bear such a burden. The child asked about his parents, a painful question. Tragedy had struck, a truth too difficult to share. Helen couldn't bring herself to reveal the harsh reality. Instead, she offered comforting words, a fragile hope. He's confident he'll reunite with his parents soon. But first, sleep. Tomorrow's a new day. The trusting child agrees. Moments later, he's sound asleep. Meanwhile, the woman is racked with a violent cough. A chilling realization dawns on her. She's dying. Each cough brings forth a horrifying spray of blood. With a final, whispered goodbye to the boy, she breathes her last. The boy awakens later. To a gruesome sight, blood-soaked sheets. She's gone. The shelter manager arrives with his mistress. The despicable pair are furious to find a corpse in their shelter. The mistress notices something striking. The boy's hair is the same shade of white as Pauline. Pauline, a long-term resident of the shelter. Speak of the devil, here comes Pauline now. And the resemblance to the boy is uncanny. The mistress gives an immediate order. Pauline takes charge of the boy. This isn't a charity after all. Pauline and the boy are sent to the streets to beg. Now about the Duncan shelter. It's supposedly funded by charity and the government. A sanctuary for the lost, they claim. But in reality, it's a den of child exploitation. Responsibility fees mask their greed. Profit is their only motive. Pauline introduces herself, asking the boy's name. He remains silent. His mind is fixated on the woman he just lost. Pauline sees the worry etched on his face. She sits beside him, offering a dose of reality. She doesn't know his past. But it's over and he needs to look forward. Survival demands optimism and resilience. Embrace hope and happiness will follow. She offers him her hand. She urges him to strive for a better life. He instantly accepts her outstretched hand. His life takes a dramatic turn. From that pivotal moment, he becomes her son, their survival depending on street begging. Their initially transactional mother-son dynamic blossoms into genuine maternal care from Pauline. She fiercely protects him from the street's harsh reality. Surrounded by her love, loneliness never touches him. 5 years effortlessly slip away. Time passes as quickly as a whisper. The boy, now 8, goes by the name Rowan. One evening, sharing a quiet moment, they share a moment of mutual gratitude. They acknowledge their shared struggles and triumph. That very morning, Rowan overhears whispers of her imminent departure. He seeks answers. Pauline's confirmation lacks enthusiasm. A noble household offered her a maid position. Rowan's joy for her is genuine. He's convinced she'll excel. Pauline playfully chides his concern. He already has enough to worry about. Meanwhile, Oscar overflows with gratitude for her unwavering support. 5 years ago, Helen left him alone. Bullies and vagrants tormented him. Pauline was his constant protector. She always defended him. Tears well up unexpected. He should be happy, yet the thought of her leaving is agonizing. First his parents, then Helen, now Pauline. He's being left alone again. Everyone leaves. Abandonment gnaws at him. Pauline swiftly interrupts his sorrow. Absence doesn't equate to abandonment. Solitude isn't his only companion. True emptiness lies in a heart devoid of love. By remembering those lost and looking inward, he'll find the depth of their love and care. When loneliness encroaches, she urged him to feel his heart, not just see with his eye. Her presence, a constant comfort, remains. Daylight wanes, night descends. Darkness blankets the land. Deep within the woods, Rowan clings to Pauline's final words. Overwhelmed by solitude, he closes his eyes. His hand seeks solace on his chest. He strives to awaken his heart's vision, yearning to feel the presence of his loved ones. Mana surges, enveloping him. Even sightless, he perceives all. The world unveils itself, transparent and clear. Beyond the physical, he senses his parents. Helen, Pauline, all cherished souls draw near. Years have vanished since Pauline left the shelter. Silence. No word from Pauline has reached Rowan. He assumes she's still finding her way, adjusting to a life beyond the shelter's wall. All Rowan can do is hope for her safety and well-being. Meanwhile, he begs, just like the other children. Survival is a daily struggle. He's assigned to Zone 1 by the director, the prime begging spot known for its lucrative return. Compared to the others, Rowan receives preferential treatment. Then there's Blake, unusually kind to Rowan. Zone 1's supervisor, Blake extends a hand of friendship. He's been overly friendly. Almost too friendly. Ever since learning about Rowan's heartbreaking past, Blake helped Rowan understand the glowing light, the visions he sees with closed eyes. Mana. Blake's been a supportive and helpful guy. Rowan finds no fault in Blake. This man harbors condensed light clusters within him. A skilled swordsman, wielding the power of mana. Rowan's mana sight reveals something unsettling. A strange, murky aura surrounding Blake's mana. Let's delve into the mechanics of mana in this world. Mana, the foundational life force of this reality. Every breath taken consumes mana, subtly shaping the world's flow. But some, like Blake, can actively wield mana through rigorous training. This is mana cultivation, a practice Blake has strictly forbidden Rowan from attempting, due to its potentially lethal consequences. Untrained handling can be deadly. Coins clink into Rowan's bucket met with heartfelt thanks. Gratitude, a beggar's sincere currency. A beggar's duty, gratefully performed. Some passers-by find Rowan undeniably charming. His cuteness proves irresistible. Lost in thought, Rowan contemplates the complexities of this mana-infused reality. His first challenge, perceiving the mundane and the magical simultaneously. Seeing the world anew, mana and all. Success. He completes the task. A small victory paints a subtle smile on his face. Such a sight was rare just a short time ago, but now he's mastered it. Yet victory comes at a cost. The overlapping of mana and physical object leaves him disoriented and drained. Blake appears unexpectedly. He's impressed by Rowan's substantial earnings. Rowan humbly deflects the praise. He insists it's all due to the kindness of others. Blake urges caution, warning of potential threat. Success can breed envy. Report anything suspicious, Blake advises. He wants to know immediately. With that warning delivered, Blake turns to leave. A final wave goodbye. But Rowan's eyes have already caught something amiss. He's reluctant to share this with his superior. Unfamiliar faces in the crowd, especially those radiating potent mana. Their mana, concentrated in their core, mirrors Blake's. Yet, something sets them apart from typical mana users. The mana of the two strangers he saw yesterday possessed an unusually vibrant glow. Rowan's unease deepens. Because they were watching him, then they vanished instantly, leaping effortlessly across rooftops. They didn't seem overtly menacing. Rowan desperately wants to keep his mana sight a secret. It's a secret he intends to protect. Another coin clinks into his overflowing scrap bin. It's full. Time for a replacement. He heads towards base camp to swap it for an empty one. En route, he spots figures lurking in the shadow, emanating the same intensely colored mana. Deja vu. He's seen this before. He's almost certain it's yesterday's crew. And not just one either. Multiple shadows are tailing him relentlessly. Rowan's clueless about their intentions. This time, fear is a cold knot in his stomach. They've never been this close before. One behind, one to the side, he's boxed in. Base camp. He just needs to reach base camp. Panic threatens to overwhelm him. The pursuers are closing in. The gap is shrinking with every step. He's trapped. This is it. But then a lifeline. A familiar voice cuts through the terror. Salvation arrives in the form of Blake. He's a blur of motion, sprinting at impossible speed. Reaching Rowan, he scoops him up into a protective embrace. With a powerful leap, he lands on a rooftop. Their pursuers are hot on their heels. Blake accelerates. Hold on tight, he urges Rowan. Don't lose a single coin, or we'll be going hungry tonight. Rowan is completely lost in thought. Blake is bewildered. They reach safety. Blake sets the dazed Rowan down. Rowan remains unresponsive. Was he that terrified? Blake wonders. Frozen stiff the whole time? We're safe now. Come on inside, Blake encourages. Inside, Rowan's silence is revealed to be anything but fear. He wasn't paralyzed by terror. He was struck by inspiration. During their escape, he had an epiphany. He saw how mana flows through the body with every motion. He observed the subtle mana fluctuations, the way it intensified in focused limbs. He could even calculate the precise mana bursts needed for a rooftop leap. He's ready for a second attempt. Time to explore his newfound potential. He inhales, drawing in mana. It circulates within him, condensing, poised for release. It seems he's mastered mana control. Now for the real test. Meanwhile, the other kids at their stations begin to arrive. They're baffled by the sudden recall. Their senior officer appears. He senses their curiosity. He assures them it's nothing serious. No need for alarm. Once the zone leaders finish inspecting, everyone returns to their designated task. The inspection's duration remains unknown. Silence and confinement to their rooms are mandated. But there's one exception. Our protagonist. He's instructed to prepare for relocation. The quiet boy obediently trails his senior. He maintains a respectful distance. Rowan is momentarily sidelined. His senior engages in a conversation with a formidable figure. Curiosity piques the boy's interest. The distance renders their words inaudible. He channels his mana, focusing intently on his hearing. Suddenly their voices become crystal clear. His enhanced hearing transcends the distance. The topic, Rowan's transfer to the main building. He's being moved from the dormitory. The reason eludes even his senior. It's a direct order from the director. Perhaps the director harbors a fondness for the boy. Can't fault the director's choice. The kid's undeniably charming. And after the Zone 1 incident, prioritizing his safety's a no-brainer. Rowan's earlier encounter? Those shady figures could be Union members. The Union remains a mystery. But hopefully not for long. It dawns on the little guy. They're talking about his stalkers. The big guy beckons, leading the kid away. They navigate the main building and arrive at the front desk, meeting Amy. The big guy insists Rowan greet her. She's his new caretaker. Introductions over. Awkward silence descends. Amy breaks the ice, inquiring about his age. 10, he replies instantly. 10 years old. He confesses his illiteracy, never having learned. Dorm wing, figures, Amy thought, but come tomorrow. She'd be his tutor, teaching him everything. He'd learn to call her teacher. Or big sister when it was casual. Looking closer, she noticed his surprisingly striking feature. Quite the looker for a dorm resident, she mused. The shy boy simply asked, why reading? Amy was slightly irked by his cluelessness. A reading event, she explained, exasperated. Someone reads aloud to an audience. For a special occasion. Think book launch or social gathering. Sometimes by the author themselves. Or by nobles at parties. Reading well is a high society must. This time, Rowan would perform for the shelter's patrons. Excel, and a special reading might be in his future. Impressive reading skills often lead to adoption. Those chosen for adoption often have private reading. A private audience with their potential sponsor. But for our illiterate hero, it's a monumental task. He faces an uphill battle. After that information overload, he doesn't even flinch. No confusion, no overwhelm. Amy is completely captivated and perplexed. She affectionately pats his head. Follow me, she instructs. She leads him to his new room, introducing him to his housemates. Once she leaves, Rowan unpacks into his own closet, a dormitory luxury, a personal space unheard of in the dormitory. Another child approaches, stunned. He stares in disbelief. He can't believe Rowan came from the dormitory. This kid's astonishment is palpable. He's equally intrigued. He confesses he's never encountered a dormitory resident. Extending a friendly hand, he introduces himself as Theo. The blonde is Noah, the boy in the middle, Hayden, and the quiet girl on their left, Lily. Theo outlines the advantages of their situation. No bullies here. No more begging. Children participating in reading events assist in the library. They work in reception, attending to guests. This group specifically manages the library itself, organizing books, handling daily operation. Rowan, being the newest addition, receives a warm welcome. They express their gratitude for his presence. As night falls, Rowan lies in bed. His thoughts are consumed by books. To him, they hold the world's knowledge. Pauline always felt books were the perfect gift for a curious mind like Rowan. The thought of her filled him with gratitude. Thinking of her brought a surge of gratitude to his heart. In Zone 1, Rowan finished a rehearsal reading. Amy requested he bring forth the books he'd read that day. He presented a hefty stack of books on the table. The woman meticulously documented each title. Her examination complete, she noticed something remarkable. A striking realization dawned upon her. It turned out, Rowan's reading consisted entirely of fairy tale. She directed him toward novels. In Zone 2, she commended the boy. She praised his impressive efforts. Rowan rejoiced at the prospect of reading Zone 2 books. Zone 2 housed books for adults. His excitement fueled a desire to read further. He wanted to read more before returning to his dorm. She granted him permission. He proceeded directly to Zone 2. Lil bros in bookworm heaven, surrounded by endless possibilities. Every book he touches, he instantly wants to devour. Then one title jumps out. The Birth of the Grafton Kingdom in the Union. The Union, a word that sparks a flicker of recognition. He's heard whispers of it from the grown-ups. He opens the book, and a map of the continent unfolds before him. His home, a small principality, part of a world shaped by Grafton's victorious war. A world reorganized, one kingdom, 6 independent principalities. A system built on the promise of peace. To safeguard that peace, a powerful entity was born, the Union. For over 2 centuries, the Union has been a force for order. 200 years of stability orchestrated by its hand. Maintaining peace, preserving harmony. Its members, paragons of virtue, beacons of goodness. But if that's true, why did Blake flee in terror? Why run from those meant to protect? The only logical explanation? The union might prohibit begging, and Blake feared repercussions. Yet, Blake's chummy with the supervisors. Something's amiss. Another possibility emerges. The shelter and the union might be at odds, and for reasons unknown. The shelter's burying that day's events. The day the union chased him. It must be seriously shady. Why else would the shelter cover it up? The mere thought unsettles him. Days drift by serenely. We find Rowan tidying the library. His mana eases the chore. Moving and channeling mana simultaneously is still tricky, but he's getting the hang of it. Back in his begging days, he'd sit still, quietly absorbing mana. Life's changed. He's mastered mana circulation while walking. Even reading doesn't disrupt his focus. Yet his mana concentration remains stagnant. It dissipates instead of coalescing. Frustrating, but he trusts the process. Small steps lead to big gain. He believes persistence will ultimately guide him to his goal. The children assemble in the main hallway. The vice director and Amy stand before them. Without delay, the vice director announces the reading event participants. Names are called for the upcoming reading event. Theo, Lily, and Noah are in. They made the cut, but Rowan's name brings hesitation. The vice director pauses. She's against his participation. He's barely graduated from fairy tales, but the boy's undeniable charm would elevate the event instead of a direct role. His mission, soak in the ambience. Ever-polite Rowan expresses heartfelt gratitude for the opportunity. Selections made. Amy steps in to guide the chosen few. 10 children are ushered to change into formal wear. Their destination, the reception hall. Meanwhile, the unchosen grumble amongst themselves. Rowan's selection? A blatant injustice. He's barely graduated from fairy tales. Rowan emerges, transformed. Adorable, refined, utterly captivating. Compliments are exchanged with Theo. Amy leads him to his designated seat. All seated. A knock heralds the guest's arrival. Distinguished figures begin to fill the room. Among the women, a familiar face. She recognizes Rowan from his days begging on the streets. Her too. I remember. She was completely charmed by the adorable little guy. Even Rowan seems to recognize her, and he quickly shows his appreciation for her past generosity. The money she gave him that day clearly made an impact. Caroline's her name, and she's become a devoted Rowan fan. She's so enthusiastic, she's gushing to the vice director about him, recounting how she saw him begging at the Bree intersection. Even then, last winter, he was a striking child. Now he's even more impressive. Adding to the intrigue, the vice director reveals Rowan's learned to read. Caroline's practically ecstatic. She insists on hearing him read aloud. Right now, the vice director explains Rowan's only observing today. Disappointing news for Caroline. She was so eager to hear his voice. Seeing Caroline's enthusiasm, the vice director decides to let Rowan try reading the last chapter. A simple trial read later. And the guests are utterly astonished. Rowan's melodious voice washes over them, holding them captive in its enchanting rhythm. The air thickens with palpable affection. The ladies are completely smitten. Emotions surge within them. The raw passion in Rowan's voice draws soft sighs from the audience. Tears well up in their eyes. Overwhelmed, the ladies bite their lips. Hearts pound as his reading concludes. Compliments pour forth from the ladies. Sweet nothings fill the air. Rowan remains humble. He credits Miss Deputy for his success. She nurtured his talent and gave him this chance. Caroline requests another reading tomorrow. The vice director agrees. We rejoin Rowan in the library. Browsing the stacks. His quest, knowledge to enhance his mana control. He seeks to seamlessly blend mana with his movement. He selects a promising volume. But Blake appears, noticing Rowan's choice, a book about life's pleasures. Specifically, the pleasures of the flesh. Rowan feigns surprise at Blake's approach, though he clearly anticipated it. He knew Blake was there all along. Blake's here to congratulate Rowan on his stellar performance at the reading. He's slightly disappointed to have missed hearing Rowan read. He came to the library hoping for a private recital. Rowan understands Blake's absence, knowing his senior's burdened with responsibility. To catch up, Rowan inquires about any news. Rowan asks for an update. Anything new? Blake drops a bombshell about the union members. His previous pursuers are becoming a nuisance again. Blake intends to handle them through official channels. Rowan is convinced that with Blake's intervention, the union members will face a crushing defeat and a much-needed lesson. This bolsters the senior's confidence. Despite his eagerness to attend tomorrow's reading, he anticipates another absence. Blake appears courageous, confronting the union. But this paints him as the antagonist. He's disrupting the union's efforts for peace. The union's purpose is maintaining order and tranquility, after all. However, Blake's kindness towards Rowan redeems him in Rowan's eyes. Resuming their discussion, Rowan assures his senior of future opportunity to hear him read. There will be many more readings to come. Rowan prioritizes Blake's safety. He hopes Blake handles the union smoothly. Blake offers Rowan encouragement for his future endeavor. He gestures towards Rowan's book. He suggests Rowan read it after his reading session. The senior departs for work. Rowan ponders the Blake-Union conflict. He's intrigued by the prospect of a mana control showdown, a clash between masters. Crucially, he assesses his own strength. Can he measure up to his seniors? He channels his mana. His amplified strength accidentally rips the book. Mana enhanced his grip. A knock at the door summons Rowan. The deputy lady's summons confuses Rowan. She struggles to articulate her thoughts. Rowan's become unexpectedly popular with noblewomen. His voice is all that matters. Solo or not, they're captivated. The deputy's head throbs from their fervent pleas. She attempts to fulfill the impossible. And now, she dreads asking the boy for this monumental favor. Rowan, ever agreeable, agrees to help the deputy. Next, the deputy announces the special reader. Shockwaves ripple through the room. Theo, not Rowan, is chosen. Speechless, Theo stumbles over his disbelief. Congratulations pour in from the deputy and his peers. Even Theo believes Rowan deserved the honor. The blue-haired boy praises Rowan's eloquent reading, predicting future greatness. He's destined for extraordinary things. Meanwhile, the chosen reader, Theo, embarks on his next journey. He disappears into the horizon. Even Rowan felt a pang of sadness at the boy's departure, but the melancholy was fleeting. Rowan quickly lost himself in his reading once more. His melodious voice captivated the noblewomen. No time for tears or reminiscing. Duty called, the reading must continue. The boy's schedule was demanding. The deputy informed him of double duty. Morning and afternoon sessions awaited. Double shifts were now the norm. Even the deputy felt a twinge of sympathy for the workload. But Rowan was simply too sought after. Instead of resentment, Rowan embraced the challenge. He saw opportunity, not burden. Grateful for the appreciation of his talent. Meanwhile, his younger brother confessed to feeling emotionally drained after each reading. The emotional toll was significant. He requested breaks for mental recovery. A request too sincere to deny. But his backyard adventures are strictly enforced. Rowan's content, this newfound freedom is enough. Alone in the garden, the boy finds solace. It's time to resume his mana circulation practice. He focuses his mana targeting specific areas, muscles, joints, and bone. Rowan follows the book's instructions meticulously, experimenting. With intense focus, he channels mana throughout his body. Success hinges on one crucial element, willpower. Willpower is key. Mana manipulation requires more than mere thought. It demands desire. It requires a call to action, a forceful intent. Rowan glows, illuminated by the flowing mana. The process complete, he returns to normal. Only one issue remains: mana concentration. Is it a physical limitation or a lack of skill? He's unsure. Patience is key. He won't rush. Eliminating weaknesses methodically is paramount. His goal, to ensure a different fate for Oscar. Blake's visit to the shelter with the boy revealed Oscar's inability to walk. Rowan suspected the Union had grown weary of pursuing the elusive boy. A welcome respite, but also a revelation. Even mana users, it seemed, could succumb to exhaustion. Rowan's obsession, unlocking the secrets of stored mana. He envisioned wielding external mana as his own. His theory had already been tested by infusing his voice with mana, a vocalized mana output. A breakthrough, the potential to manipulate external mana, provided it possessed a defined form. Rowan explored the possibilities and stumbled upon a stunning realization. A levitating leaf, proof of his newfound power. Next, Lily is once again chosen. The special reader selected. Now it's Lily's turn. Like Theo, she receives applause and well wishes. But strangely, Lily becomes flustered and speechless in front of Rowan. He's completely bewildered. She stammers, attempting a love confession, but gets abruptly cut off. The other children loudly voice their own bewilderment. Knowing Rowan's exceptional abilities, they're shocked he was passed over twice. They suspect the deputy's interference, believing Rowan is being exploited for profit. He's a cash cow for the institution. Poor Lily's confession is drowned out. The humiliation is complete when Rowan asks her to repeat herself. He simply didn't hear her. Lily flees in tears, her confession lost. Meanwhile, Rowan is lost in thought. He remembered the rumor. Special readers were destined for good family. This sparked a hope, a chance for a different life. He envisioned a world beyond the institution's wall. A world brimming with new experiences, expanding his horizon. Perhaps this way he could master mana storage faster. The boy's curiosity intensified. The following day, during a break, he practiced levitation, honing his skill. Repetition made it effortless for Rowan. Suddenly, a purple mana thread caught his attention. He spotted a figure attempting to breach the perimeter. the man who had brought him to the institution. The man collapsed with a resounding thud. To Rowan's astonishment, the man's mana rapidly dissipated. Another man rushed over, checking the fallen man's pulse. They exchanged hurried words. The word union slipped out. Rowan overheard, then received a sharp command. Retreat. Forget what he'd witnessed. The kid's frozen, completely stunned. He's utterly clueless about what's happening. And to make matters worse, the afternoon reading session is suddenly canceled. It's a completely unexpected announcement. Everyone's ordered back to their dorms, no exception. This is unprecedented. Confusion reigns among the children. Amy focuses on Rowan, pushing him to get ready. He's today's chosen reader, the event's centerpiece. One last look of sadness crosses the boy's face. He remembers Amy's harsh words. Her usual warmth and compassion were gone. He thinks back to the two men from earlier. Could they be behind the cancellation? Did they have something to do with it? He's not sure. He walks over to Amy, finding her dressed and ready to meet the sponsor. But deep down, he senses something's wrong at the shelter. Something more than just a cancelled reading. Despite the boy's polished appearance, a sense of unease lingers. Seeing the boy impeccably dressed, a moment of awe strikes her. Silent, she directs the child to follow. Rowan wonders, is Caroline adopting him? A happy ending, perhaps? Shockingly, it's someone else entirely. Amy remains wordless. They arrive at the annex, a relief shelter. A noticeably darker and more ominous place than he's accustomed to. Even Rowan senses the pervading malevolence. Suspicious mana emanates from within. The greeter ushers the boy inside. Haste is clearly important. Parting ways, the boy catches one last glimpse of Amy's neutral expression. Her face betrays nothing. He notes the lack of windows. The gloom is heavier than anticipated. The boy remains on high alert. Danger could lurk anywhere. The vice director's voice cuts through the silence. They step into a bizarre, unsettling hall. It resembles a sacrificial altar more than anything else. Rowan is immediately directed to a chair and instructed to read. He pauses, gathering his thoughts. Could these secretive figures be Union fugitives? Is this connected to the earlier incident? The ritual's purpose remains a complete mystery. His eyes fall upon the designated book. The fear and apprehension cloud the boy's face. A gaping pit below draws his attention. What secrets does it hold? Sudden realization dawns. It's a vast reservoir of mana. A sight unlike anything he's ever witnessed. The command comes, begin reading. He starts, his voice taking on a lyrical quality. The passage unfolds, a grim tale linked to the dark abyss. He can feel the dark mana coalescing within its depth. Rowan continues to read, his voice unwavering. Overwhelmed by emotion, his composure cracks. His recitation takes a sinister turn. Even his inner voice darkens. Suddenly realization dawns. His sole audience, the insatiable mana pit. As he continues reading, his own mana is relentlessly drained. Each word weakens him. Danger is imminent. Stopping now seals the shelter's doom. The Union will close in. With renewed focus, he pushes through the pain. His new tactic, absorb and redirect the ambient mana. He will bend the flow to his will. And then, white tendrils of mana erupt, weaving a protective barrier. He's enveloped in a cocoon of energy. Complete mastery over the mana flow, a resounding triumph. Readings off the table, much to the boy's relief. He decides to play for time. He can sense the Union's arrival through mana fluctuation. His mana detection acts as an early warning system. Rowan's reading drags on, suspiciously long. His would-be assassins grow impatient. They expected the ritual to be finished by now. Something's not right, they need to investigate. They make their move. But the boy is ready. He anticipated this. He senses their approach. Did he buy himself enough time? His thoughts shatter as they burst in. A man bellows as he enters. But then, a twist. They descend underground, not towards him. What secrets lurk in the darkness below? Cut to the house master, brutally slapped. The deputy lady seizes him. The leader takes charge. The ritual suspects a deception. Punishment for the attempted escape. Rowan descends, unfazed. His gaze fixates on a horrifying tree of trapped souls. Rowan's world shatters. He sees the countless sacrifices. All for the ritual. His despair deepens. He finds Pauline among the victims. The mad aunt seizes the child. Blake arrives panicked, demanding answers. Why are the directors dead? The directors tried to flee. A strange fruit is discovered. Rowan was meant to yield another, but everything went wrong. Chaos reigns. Blake curses under his breath. He retrieves the blade from Pauline's body. The scene triggers a flashback to a conversation with his brother. The man he once called brother was asked about his missing sword. Blake's excuse? His weapon was elsewhere. A chilling truth is revealed. Blake is Pauline's murderer. Darkness transforms Rowan into a terrifying force. His first act? Swift, brutal revenge. Blake, distracted, reaches for his blade. Oblivious to the looming danger. Suddenly, he's facing a boy consumed by dark power. Rowan's strength is shocking, unexpected. Before Blake can utter another word, Rowan unleashes a blinding attack. His focus shifts to the lost. To those who are gone, tears well up. He mourns the woman who was like a mother, channeling mana into the dead tree. He delves into their memories. Rowan witnesses a heartbreaking scene. Horrific memories flood his vision, defenseless children weeping, the fallen lifeless around them. Amidst the carnage, a figure emerges. An older Rowan, his future self, stares back. Before he can process the vision, before understanding dawns, the memory abruptly shatters, leaving him yearning for more. Confusion reigns, yet something within him has irrevocably shifted. A long-lost feeling rekindles, the familiar embrace of man. Pauline's warm embrace floods his memory. Her voice whispers, true solitude lies only in an empty heart. She urges him to cling to the memories of those he holds dear. In their love he'll find connection. Look inward, she instructs, and seek the love that resides within. It's an invisible force, a feeling, not a sight. Pauline's voice resonates deep within his soul. Listen, she commands, to the rhythm of your heart. The familiar essence of mana returns. He urges the boy to remember what truly mattered. Though his memories and the love for his maternal figure are gone, they remain etched in his heart forever. Their poignant reunion ends abruptly, snapping them back to reality. Blake's blade presses against the boy's throat. He reveals he waited out of respect for Rowan. Otherwise, the confrontation would have ended soon. He admits he always knew the boy was intelligent. His own men, he laments, sabotaged their plan. Now curiosity piqued, he has a question. Blake offers the boy a choice, come with him, or die silently and alone. The boy finally speaks. He coldly asks, where to? Blake suggests another farm. He'll tend to trees there, like the ones before them. Blake will be his caretaker, his manager. Simply put, he's about to officially join the Retell. What's the Retell, you wonder? It's the cult leader's inner circle, a group intent on reshaping their world with dark magic. Blake's just a pawn in his leader's game. A chilling question escapes Rowan's vacant stare. He needs to know. Did Blake create the tree? The swordsman denies such power. He's not capable. It's simply not true. He merely observes the high priest's creations. They alone wield that kind of power. Impatient, Blake demands the boy's answer. Rowan delivers a decisive refusal. He maturely declines the offer. Blake's displeasure is palpable. His blade flashes menacingly toward the boy. This is the same man who once acted like a brother to him. I anticipated at least a flicker of doubt. But no, he went straight for the kill. Rowan intervened, halting the fatal blow. Much to the villain's astonishment, the boy effortlessly caught the blade with 2 fingers. His external mana control made it child's play. Now Rowan demands answers. Did Blake murder Pauline? Is he the culprit behind her death? The arrogant swordsman mocks, questioning the boy's thirst for vengeance. Would he seek retribution? The boy's response? He obliterates the blade with crackling mana. Blake's fate is sealed. He won't see another dawn. A chilling declaration with a hint of underlying sorrow. A crushing blow sends Blake reeling. He collapses to his knees, agony etched on his face. Even with a warning to dodge, Blake was too slow. Before a single curse can escape his lip, Rowan delivers the final strike, silencing him forever. The boy's voice is devoid of emotion. Some deserve no mercy. Guilt has no place here. Or believe they're victims of injustice. This is simply the direct result of their own choices. And now, Rowan will ensure accountability for individuals like him. His declaration concludes with Blake receiving the Gojo treatment, becoming utterly shattered. But Rowan's challenges aren't over. He senses multiple individuals. Descending below, the group arrives. Their leader orders a thorough search. It's Oscar, the Union Division's vice captain. He observes the boy's potential and inquires about telekinetic abilities. Confused, the boy prompts Oscar to rephrase. Did he learn magic via the Riddle Group? Rowan vehemently denies any connection. He clarifies he's never had formal magical training. He's entirely self-taught, a ludicrous claim from a 10-year-old. Oscar senses the boy's honesty. Introductions are made, the vice captain learns of Rowan. Rowan's keen insights impress the vice captain. He reveals his knowledge of the Faith Division, experts in reconnaissance and swordsmanship, masters of the blade. He even deduces Oscar's S rank from his badge. The vice captain is stunned by the boy's astuteness. His sharp observation skills are remarkable. A private conversation is in order. Rowan is instructed to retrieve the sword and to channel his power. Rowan unleashes his telekinesis, leaving the vice captain utterly astonished. A 10-year-old with such extraordinary ability? The tree's origin is revealed to Oscar, believed to be less than 2 years old, bound by a spell, possibly Udon. However, Oscar believes a high priest would have left mana traces. Only Father Shaun could break the spell, and Rowan remains lost in contemplation. His gaze fixed on the unfortunate children. The so-called special readers were mere sacrifices. Theo and Lily are gone, leaving Rowan consumed by a crushing guilt over his past unkindness. He asks Oscar about encountering similar trees on previous missions, implying the Union Faith Division will likely investigate more farm. Their target, the Riddle Group. Oscar answers but observes something striking about Rowan. He notes the boy's unexpected reaction. Typically, a child his age would be overwhelmed by grief, but Rowan is different. He's resolute, determined, fueled by a quiet rage. Rowan seeks sanctuary with the Faith Division. Oscar contemplates the situation. He believes the boy is clearly traumatized. The shock is evident despite the boy's composure. He's masking it expertly for now. Oscar announces a special investigation will determine Rowan's fate. He instructs the boy to follow. Compliance is expected. Rowan notices a coin on the deceased deputy. He snatches it before departing with Oscar. Initial assessments reveal no significant damage to the Pillar of Faith. 13 casualties are linked to the opposing organization. 3 fatalities are confirmed from the Shatler side. 2 prime suspects emerge. Amy is one of them. The high priests and executives only prepared the initial ritual site. The cause of the collapse remains unknown. Further investigations are underway. The report concludes, demanding answers. The vice captain turns to Rowan, seeking answers. He asks where the boy feels most at peace. Rowan's reply, the library, respecting the boy's preference. The thoughtful Oscar suggests they talk there. He invites Rowan to lead the way. Cut to the library, where they're discussing plans, even surrounded by books. Oscar finds no guides on mana cultivation. He's eager to know how Rowan mastered magic independently. Rowan's answer is simple. I figured it out. A clear sign of brilliance. Gifted individuals often struggle to explain their intuition. Such a response is typical. Returning to the narrative. Rowan declares himself smart. An endearingly confident statement. Even the vice captain believes the boy's story and suspects potential talent. He needs the boy's perspective on exactly what happened. The boy starts his story, recalling his first time at the shelter. Their discussion continues at length. Finally, he reaches a conclusion. He believes Pauline transferred her powers, that she's the source of his abilities. Even with the boy's account, the vice captain remains perplexed. For instance, the boy has no mana cultivation training. Yet, he killed 2 Riddle members, including Blake, a skilled swordsman. He also disrupted the High Priest's ritual. No small accomplishment. Currently, the boy uses telekinesis without incantation. That's another oddity. He doesn't even seem tired. Rowan's a hidden gem completely overlooked. Intrigued, he demands details about the mysterious tree. Here's the breakdown. It's a ritualistic device, engineered by a life-consuming organization. Their objective, cultivate a unique fruit, forged from stolen life energy. It's essentially condensed mana, given physical form, making it incredibly valuable. Oscar reveals a fruit grown from Rowan's essence. This fruit, born from Rowan's drained mana, is consumed, boosting the consumer's mana reserves. A black market treasure. Why the reading ritual? Rituals demand specific conditions. Reading stabilizes the tree, enhancing the fruit's potency. This explanation reveals Rowan mused on the tree's absorption in his tale. It was as though the tree listened intently like a captivated audience. This meant its activity stabilized before transforming into trees. The boy grasped their past as living, breathing individuals. Oscar was struck by the boy's sharp insight. He concluded they shared the same understanding. The boy's curiosity remained piqued. He inquired about the meaning of telekinesis. The vice captain explained it as a form of magic. It allowed objects to be moved using mana, not physical force. Rowan demonstrated this ability himself. He realized he'd been wielding magic all along. His understanding of his own power and magic itself was limited. He knew little of magic's true nature. Despite displaying only basic telekinesis, Oscar recognized the boy's exceptional potential for his age. Remembering the boy's desire to join the Faith Division, Oscar's curiosity about his motives deepened. After all, just moments ago, he endured a devastating betrayal. Those he held dearest shattered his trust. So, Rowan's desire to join them raises red flag, especially after such heartbreak. The Faith Division and the Union, 2 sides of the same coin. Rowan's confession, he's not entirely sold on the Faith Division, but his gut tells him Oscar's genuine. Good mana, bro, as he puts it. Oscar's stunned, a 10-year-old calling him pure. He warns, that kind of naivete can be deadly. Rowan insists he's a skilled judge of character. Regardless, adding a child to their ranks is risky. Their mission is too important. Rowan wonders, is he inadequate? Too weak? Does he not measure up? The vice captain interrupts. Listen closely, he commands. Pay attention. True strength, he explains, goes beyond mere talent. That harsh tone crushed the boy's spirit. Rowan's visibly deflated. Oscar backpedals, assuring him there's nothing wrong with him personal. It's just difficult to make exceptions for an outsider, especially one so young. But the sharp young boy counters, does age truly trump ability? The question halts the vice captain in his track. Rowan undeniably possesses genius-level talent for his age. Subduing two grown men proves that. Sadly, that's not the only factor. Oscar concedes that the Union prioritizes experience over raw talent, experience measured in years. Rowan asks pointedly, is he simply too childish for their rank? The vice captain decides to give him a chance. He reframes the conversation. Consider this a mock interview. First question. Why kill Edgar? Especially when Edgar initially posed no threat. To which Rowan counters, Edgar also murdered the headmaster and his wife. Edgar's own death seemed imminent. Hesitation would have been a fatal mistake. Oscar retorts, 2 lives were still taken. It's plausible. Other factors influenced the boy's decision. Perhaps anger clouded his judgment. Rowan concedes emotions undeniably played a role. He readily admits this. However, emotions can clarify, not just cloud judgment. They can sharpen decision-making. His judgment stemmed from the countless innocent lives taken by those villains. Sparing them was pointless. They were irredeemable. They had nothing left to offer. Ultimately, the boy had no right to let them live. Oscar challenges. Did he have the right to kill? Rowan declares it was the only just outcome, considering everything. At that crucial instant, he held the power to deliver justice, but he refuses to deny his actions. He owns the responsibility of taking a life. He offers no justifications. Therefore, the vice captain questions the necessity of those deaths. Rowan's chilling response, some are destined to execute. Some must fulfill the role of executioner. His icy stare emphasizes, the Union's very existence hinges on this grim truth. The vice captain glimpses a darkness within him. The Union upholds its core principles, yes, but more importantly, it strives for a world filled with joy and safety, a world protected from harm, a future of enduring peace and stability for generations to come. Yet, this utopian dream remains elusive. It remains an insurmountable goal. The organization relentlessly pursues this unattainable ideal. This is the Union's core purpose. The vice captain believes this is their sole reason for being. Rowan's composure and insightful responses leave him impressed. Yet, simultaneously, he's astonished by the boy's profound articulation. Oscar unveils the existence of the Grave, a shadowy organization of ultimate evil jeopardizing the kingdom's very survival. Rattle is merely one branch of the sinister entity. The Union's first division is tirelessly dismantling their wicked operation. Progress is slow, but Rowan's involvement could be the catalyst for victory. Oscar's words leave the boy perplexed. The vice captain concludes that Rowan must prove himself within the Union. Only then will he be considered one of them. For now, Rowan must strive to meet Oscar's high expectation. Meeting adjourned. Outside, Oscar and his team assemble. He exposes the Duncan shelter's sinister operation. Dark schemes are revealed. But the Union triumphs, vanquishing the shadow. Locally, at least, the dungeon shelter will now operate legitimately. He dismisses the division. Then, he summons Sienna, one of his subordinates. He gives her a specific instruction. Immediately, the young boy observes her radiating, pulsating blue mass. Oscar orders the boy escorted safely to the Union. Sienna's on the job. That's her mission. Sienna, runner of the Pillar of Faith, introduces herself. She explains, the journey to the Union will take at least 2 weeks. It's a long trek. She urges him to gather any essential belonging. He has nothing of value to take. Sienna delivers a stark reminder, no second chances. She opens the floor to any questions he might have. Rowan, boldly inquisitive, learns Sienna's secret. She's a dark elf. Her radiant aura leaves Rowan stunned. He expresses his surprise. Dark elves should be shrouded in darkness, shouldn't they? Sienna is taken aback by his assumption. Quickly realizing his blunder, Rowan offers a sincere apology. He's simply captivated by her enigmatic nature. Sienna cryptically suggests his fascination stems from bloodline. She implies it dictates his behavior. The mystery deepens as she offers no further explanation. Mounting her horse, she signals their departure. Oscar bids a heartfelt farewell to the boy. The kind and thoughtful boy offers a warm take care to the entire group. His genuine sincerity wins them over. And so begins their journey to the Union. Time leaps forward to find Rowan and Sienna making camp. She presents him with a small sheath for his blade. Intrigued, the boy wondered what she was up to. Turns out a surprise gift was in the making. Overjoyed, Rowan greeted her with unexpected formality, a formality she clearly didn't appreciate. Even Big Sister felt awkward. Someday he decided, anticipating their collaboration. After all, they'd soon be working side by side. His playful antics left the dark elf flustered. He showcased his telekinesis, manipulating a broken blade mid-air. Sienna observed his skill. He recalled the vice-captain's term, telekinetic magic. She concurred, although it was merely the closest approximation. Rowan, perplexed, sought a true definition. Difficult to say, she admitted. His magic was unique, a power bordering on direct mana control. Pure, raw power, no spells or incantations needed. A divine ability reminiscent of the ancient elves, the original elf progenitors, before the elven race splintered into various factions. His eyes, the shade of dark elves, hint at Rowan's lineage. Sienna senses Rowan's parents were extraordinary. The word parents triggers a wave of memory. The next day, Rowan and Sienna reach the Union, a bustling hub resembling a town. Navigating its streets, Sienna explains its two distinct zones, residential and commercial. One thing remains constant. All races converge here to gather supply. The continent's most reliable and formidable stronghold. More than just its physical structure, it's a gathering place for the world's elite. The Union, the continent's sword and book, where warriors and mages unite. United against evil, they safeguard the city. Grave Rowan absorbs knowledge, his mind expanded. Sienna guides him through his new haven. Lazarus, the Union's director, greets them. He leads the management bureau. Intrigued by Rowan, he requests a private conversation. They retreat to a brilliantly lit room. His brightness strikes Rowan. Sienna's words echo in his mind. He understands, this is where military might converge. Lazarus's presence commands attention. His aura radiates power and control. Rowan wonders at the depth of Lazarus's strength. He questions the man's true capabilities. Lazarus takes Rowan's hand. He envelopes it in his own. A surge of energy overwhelms Rowan. He realizes Lazarus is manipulating man, a refined version of Rowan's own ability. It's the ultimate form of his own power. The boy's joy was undeniable. He was thrilled to discover others who wielded mana with such skill. Lazarus's gaze fixed on the coin, the one the boy had taken from the deputy director. Rowan insisted he hadn't stolen it. He'd simply reclaimed what belonged to his grandmother. It was an act of retrieval, not theft. The director, intrigued, wanted to examine the emblem. He asked the boy to hand it over. Despite his best efforts, Rowan couldn't move a muscle. Their bodies seemed inexplicably linked. An invisible bond held them fast. Lazarus's mana control was breathtaking. Rowan theorized that resisting both gravity and the mana might offer a way out, and he was right. He broke free using this very technique. The director was visibly impressed. He's always questioned the existence of such power. Witnessing Rowan's ability firsthand left him utterly speechless. Yet something about the display unsettles the boy. He believes he could have surpassed it. After all, it was merely a mimicry of the director's mana control. But the director doesn't call him out. Examining the emblem, the director's mana falters for the first time. The keen-eyed boy instantly notices this reaction. He expresses gratitude to the boy for revealing something so significant. But Rowan's curiosity is piqued. He has a question. He seeks confirmation. Is Lazarus truly the Union's strongest? The director laughs, dismissing the notion. He's just an old guy, he claims, supporting the next generation. He even jokingly refers to himself as a raccoon. But the boy, fixated on specifics, completely misses the metaphor. To provide a direct answer, Lazarus reveals the immense power of the 17 captain. And then there's the commander, a true master of his craft. Above him stand the governor and the full might of the Union. Compared to such powerhouses, he's self-admittedly insignificant, a mere raccoon in the grand scheme. With his questions addressed, Rowan asks for another meeting. He desires further knowledge about the organization. Lazarus gladly grants the boy his time, provided he schedules an appointment. Initial impressions suggest the boy has developed a fondness for the director. He sees Lazarus as good and strong. Expressing his gratitude, he affirms his decision to join the Union. The boy is shown his new home, the Union School or Union Academy. When team members embark on missions, their children are sent here. It's the ideal training ground for the boy's abilities. He may one day become a formidable member, but within the next 5 years, she reminds him, no specializations here. It's a fusion of talents, swordplay, magic, and martial arts combined. Their role, cultivate student potential. Fundamentals and core theory are key. Dreams of a real school fill him with joy. Pure elation floods Oscar's heart. Even Sienna shares his happiness. Next stop, Union Academy. Our prodigy looks regal in uniform. Are you a teacher? He inquires. Realizing her oversight, Daphne reveals she's the head of academics. She also teaches languages. She presents the first-year schedule and a tantalizing subject list. Manna, swordsmanship, even astronomy. His curiosity piqued, he checks every box. Intrigued by everything, he selects all subjects. Daphne, receiving the list, astonishment washed over her. She warned of the overwhelming challenge for the boy. Attending every class would be nearly impossible. Failure, she cautioned, would be a serious setback. But the boy's thirst for knowledge was insatiable. He yearned to learn it all. Daphne stressed the impossible workload. The sheer volume of homework would be overwhelming. Studying, she reminded him, is a struggle for most. This concept was alien to the boy. He questioned the difficulty of studying. His question was a revelation for Daphne. She recognized his unique perspective. Most children, she knew, resisted studying. She kept the original schedule. She suggested they proceed to the first class. Cut to the next scene. The boy shadowed Daphne into the classroom. His eyes scanned the unfamiliar environment. It was exactly as he'd pictured. These kids possess significantly stronger man. His body is the limiting factor. His initial theory was spot on. Daphne introduces a late arrival to the class. The spotlight shifts to Rowan for introduction. He recalls the reading sessions. A familiar feeling washes over him. It's a sense of déjà vu. The boy offers a polite introduction. He expresses his hope for camaraderie. His voice resonates deeply, even touching the teacher. This kid's potential is limitless. His voice is his greatest weapon. He quickly finds his seat. Daphne commences the lesson. Page 24 is the starting point. Rowan, having learned it at the orphanage, will read first. The teacher beams, eager to hear him. She's delighted for him to showcase his skill. Opening the book, a realization strikes. It's the same book Amy used for his test. Back at the shelter, Rowan captivates his audience. His elegant delivery and distinct voice leave classmates spellbound. A flicker of annoyance crosses his face. The book reminds him of his betrayal. Amy's connection to the Riddle group is confirmed, yet he yearns to hear her side. He deserves an explanation from Amy herself. Her true feelings remain a mystery. Even at his age, Rowan grasps a profound truth. People are far more intricate than any textbook. His reading concludes with a resounding impact. The class erupts in thunderous applause. The teacher, utterly charmed, joins the ovation. Such talent deserves recognition. Rowan has amassed a following. They reveal a key insight. Daphne is not easily impressed. Rowan's words resonated with raw emotion and authenticity. Unlike his admirers, a green-eyed girl with short hair remains unimpressed. Instant recognition. He knows she's the girl from his vision. Sophie Pobel, class president and student representative, introduces herself. A leader in every sense. A handshake seals the introduction. Sophie's curious about his elective choice. He declares his interest in swordsmanship. She notices his small dagger, a curious contradiction. Perhaps he has union aspirations? Maybe, but Rowan remembers his indifference to the electives. He just wanted to learn it all. Now, a spark of curiosity ignites. A question arises. Is swordsmanship a union prerequisite? Sophie's taken aback by the unexpected question. Her puzzled expression speaks volumes. Did he say something wrong? Scene change, the training grounds. Students gather, the instructor awaits. Suddenly, everyone sprints towards him, leaving the boy utterly bewildered. They announce a head start for Rowan. But that's not the shocker. Their mana uses. It's all the motivation he needs. He gleefully leaves them in the dust. Even with a late start, he stuns everyone, including the student president. Sophie recognizes his unnatural speed. He effortlessly surpasses every student. Taking the lead, he playfully challenges them to a chase. The new kid's causing a stir, and it puts the instructor on edge. Such speed in such a small frame is unbelievable. It piques his curiosity. He needs a closer look at this boy. The race leaves the students exhausted, completely outpaced and defeated. They're quickly assembled. Rowan's still thrilled about his mana-wielding friends. But Sophie, she's starting to wonder if he's even human. The way he smoked the competition, lapping them like they were standing still, is beyond belief, and he's not even winning. After that run, he's perfectly fine, not a trace of fatigue. Catching her staring, Rowan asks if she enjoyed the show. Sophie's stunned. Definitely a demon, she thinks. After a moment to catch their breath, their instructor introduces himself, Diego Sanchez, the master swordsman. Rowan's thrilled to be under his tutelage. First up, wooden swords for everyone. Let's just say, they're not exactly thrilled after that run. But Rowan hasn't moved a muscle. Diego tells him to get going. Rowan hesitates, fear evident in his eyes. The blade triggers memories of Blake. The boy's apprehension is immediately apparent to Diego. Diego instantly recognizes the boy's fear. He reassures the boy, a sword, while potentially dangerous, is ultimately just an instrument. The sword's purpose is irrelevant. What truly matters is the wielder's character. He urges the boy to confront his fear. The idea of a sword as a mere tool profoundly impacts the boy. Diego's words strike a chord. He realizes that if Blake had used a staff, his fear would simply shift to staffs. The problem isn't the sword itself. He concludes that swords are not to blame. He boldly grasps the blade. He doesn't aspire to mastery, but he won't cower. He accepts the challenge. He won't run. Immediately, Diego observes Rowan's natural talent for swordsmanship, but notes his significant lack of resolve. The instructor announces paired duels. From this point forward, every approach is valid, but victory remains the ultimate objective. First up, Rowan and Sophie are paired for a duel. It seems a strategic decision. This matchup surprises both combatants. The onlookers predict Sophie's victory. Her lineage and swordsmanship skills speak for themselves. Their instructor signals the start of the duel. Sophie initiates the fight with a broad stance. She locks eyes with her opponent, a significant moment for Rowan. He's witnessing true swordsmanship for the first time. Her mastery of the blade is impressive. It's a stark contrast to a past terrifying experience, a memory he can't shake. Adjusting his own blade, he contemplates true swordsmanship. He takes his stance, ready to learn. This is his chance. Rowan's stance alone stuns both Sophie and the instructor. He's achieved a perfect neutral stance. His natural mastery is astonishing, and still nails it on his first try. Sophie, with her family's honor on the line, won't yield. Family pride fuels her determination. Fueled by this resolve, she parries his initial strike. Rowan misses, but catches Sophie off guard. He seems to anticipate her every move. Knowing Sophie's aiming for his chest, he effortlessly evades her attacks. He deflects and counterattacks, pushing her back. Frustration washes over Sophie mid-battle. Her carefully planned attacks are rendered useless. It's like he can see the future. Conceding defeat, she demands a rematch. Rowan smiles, accepting her challenge. Afterwards, they dissect his impressive performance. His natural swordsmanship leaves her in awe. They clashed 4 times in total, each winning and losing twice. Sophie's eager for more sparring matches. Besides that, the students anticipate a relaxing magic lesson next, a chance to unwind. But Rowan's perplexed. He believes this class holds immense significance, essential for union membership, he thinks. But his innocent question shocks his peers. Unfortunately, one classmate explained, "Our teacher's way out of our league." Learning magic from him? Impossible, they say. Rowan concedes magic's difficulty, but he's intrigued by their instructor. Now the students realize Rowan's cluelessness is profound. Their basic magic teacher? He's not just an ex-commander. He's the Academy's magic dean, the esteemed Professor Arthur. Wow, Arthur? A surprise from the start. A sudden universe hop follows the abrupt ending. Magic class is now in session. Professor Arthur, a former esteemed commander, leads the lesson, and judging by his reaction, Rowan's stunned by Arthur's mana, surpassing even the director. This sparks his curiosity about the union's most powerful member. Arthur learns about the newest student and explains he teaches fundamental magic. He adds a candid caveat. Most students find his class tedious, but Rowan seems different. He aspires to be a mage and join the union. This declaration delights the professor. He praises Rowan's passionate spirit, while also pointing out his divergence from the swordsmanship path. Rowan wonders if that explains the earlier stare. He asks for clarification. He seeks to understand the reason why. Arthur defers to young Sophie for the answer. True mastery of magic, she reveals, requires vast knowledge. This pursuit demands immense mental and physical fortitude. It's a heavy burden for both mind and body, meaning even prodigiously talented individuals require a decade of rigorous training to be recognized as mages. Arthur confirms the difficulty of joining the mage union post-graduation. Union membership after graduation is a steep climb. Discouraged, the boy grapples with this new reality. First-class mage status alone isn't enough. True reliability demands more. To truly make a difference, one must achieve at least second-class ranking. Driven by this revelation, Rowan sets a daring goal, third-class magic before graduation. His audacious ambition stuns even the professor. The boy's bold proclamation leaves the professor speechless. Rowan likely doesn't yet grasp the enormity of third-class magic. He's yet to understand the true significance of his goal. Arthur clarifies, explaining the Union's emphasis on swordsmanship, illustrating the point on the board. Here, magic isn't for power, but for enlightenment. He meticulously crafts a complex formula on the board for something as simple as a fire arrow. But something's amiss. Relying solely on memory, he recalls seeing the formula before, near the ritualistic pit. Arthur understands the student's confusion. Seems complex, yet the fire arrow is a basic spell. Advanced spells? Far more challenging. Advanced spells are a different beast entirely. Replication is exponentially harder. Professor Arthur steps in and flawlessly recreates the fire arrow. But the boy notices a subtle instability, as if it's on the verge of vanishing. Magic, Arthur emphasizes, demands precision. Even with vast mana expenditure, a minor error can unravel the entire spell. A final element added, the fiery arrow now blazes with amplified size and force. This sheer presence awes the students. Arthur clarifies, mages must master and flawlessly execute complex formulas. Precision is paramount, errors are unacceptable. Modifying a spell demands immense patience, almost divine. Reshaping a fire arrow into a sphere, for instance, drains significantly more mana. It taxes both mind and body. Magic, unlike swordsmanship, has inherent limits. Sophie elaborates, swordsmanship offers greater flexibility. The reason, channeling mana into weapons is inherently more efficient. It surpasses spellcasting in ease and effectiveness. The instructor adds, mana consumption in spellcasting is far more demanding. A mage's power is directly tied to their mana reserve. Rowan's comprehension of magic deepens. He grasps the core principle. A mage's strength is directly proportional to their mana capacity. So, his low mana becomes a critical weakness. It'll hinder his magical output. He believes mastering magical theory can overcome this. Can he solve this inherent limitation? The answer remains elusive. Arthur poses a challenging question. He quizzes the boy on spellcasting requirement. Rowan confidently answers, a formula. Correct, but memorizing formulas in combat is nearly impossible. Hence, the evolution of magic circles. They replaced complex formulas, perfectly embodying their core principles. Rowan recognizes the director's tattoo. They're magic circles. Some mages engrave them for faster casting. It accelerates magical mastery. If the formula is the equation, the magic circle is its visual representation. With that settled, the boy poses a question. He wonders if the chanting itself transforms the formula. The teacher, startled, ponders the boy's insightful deduction. Rowan explains the formula on the board is a blueprint for a fireball, and if magic circles are symbolic, then chanting must be the spell's linguistic translation. A proud smile spreads across the professor's face. On his first day, no less, Rowan grasps a concept many mages spend years studying. Arthur is thoroughly impressed by the boy's quick understanding. He confirms, chanting is speaking the right word and imbuing them with mana to create the incantation. To illustrate, he conjures a fireball with an incantation. This time, he emphasizes the importance of speed and tone, even impacting the spell itself. Their emotions play a role. Felt like just reciting words, reading from a page. Yet, no recitation had ever held Rowan so spellbound. The professor worries he might have overwhelmed the boy with magic's intricate details. He wonders if Rowan still desires that ambitious goal. Surprisingly, Rowan's intrigue has only deepened. The professor is delighted. It's time to begin. Class officially starts with ancient languages. Each student receives a book to decipher its cryptic language. As expected, dread fills the air. The daunting task weighs heavily upon them. By the end of the grueling class, Sophie is utterly exhausted. The kids now face a mountain of homework. Sophie's drowning in a sea of classes. She's got serious course overload regret. Rowan, however, seems completely unfazed. This guy crammed his schedule full. It's a class marathon. Breaks are for the weak. Rowan's insatiable curiosity demands constant stimulation. His thirst for knowledge is so intense, it even annoys Sophie. Sophie discovers Rowan's roommate is Lucas. The name draws a blank. Rowan has no clue who Lucas is. With a quick goodbye, Sophie heads off for the night. Back in his room, Rowan's burning the midnight oil. He's immersed in deciphering the spell, using his formula as a foundation. Lacking the power for conventional magic, Rowan needs a workaround. He contemplates tailoring magic to his specific ability. Can he create magic that fits him? Success. Against all odds, Rowan creates a spell. This incredible triumph comes at a steep price. Casting the spell takes a brutal toll. The backlash is devastating. Rowan's completely knocked out. Lucas returns to the room and finds an unconscious Rowan sprawled on the floor. He's in for a surprise. Lost in a haze of confusion, unconscious and unaware, a familiar voice cuts through the fog. It's Lady Sienna, plagued by guilt, fearing she demanded too much. She worries she overburdened the young boy. His other teachers share her concern. Expecting brilliance, they pushed him too far. The weight of expectation became crushing. Waking at last, he finds a relieved Lucas, overjoyed to see him conscious and well. Lucas, a kind soul with genuine concern for Rowan, feared the worst had happened. He introduces himself, Lucas von Passau, roommate and friend. His roommate simply glad he's awake, relieved to see him recover from his sudden collapse. Rowan's surprised to learn he was unconscious. Apparently nothing serious. Rowan's puzzled by Lucas's frantic worry. Turns out, he's been given a singular, crucial task, Rowan's care. The plot thickens. Lucas's connection to Oscar is revealed through his father. Surprise! Lucas's father is Vice Captain Oscar himself, and he's desperately hoping Rowan will sing his praises in front of dear old dad. Rowan's trust in Lucas stems solely from his impressive manner. He takes Lucas at his word. Lucas's mature demeanor easily leads to mistaken assumptions about his age. His stature makes him seem like an upperclassman, but the truth is, he's just Rowan's classmate 2 years his senior. Not a late bloomer, more like a two-time academic failure. He couldn't meet attendance requirements. A professional flunker, it seems, and not exactly the studious type either. But more on that later. Did magic cause the boy to collapse? He's intensely curious. The chaotic state of the room suggests a magical mishap. Rowan did try to conjure a fireball, but everything after that is a blur. His roommate's a skilled swordsman. He laments the boy's wasted sword talent. Lucas is merely retracing his father's step. Rowan makes a keen observation. Despite being 2 years older, he possesses remarkably potent mana. He surpasses other students. His physique is imposing. Lucas admires his dedication. He respects the effort. Rowan feels himself falling behind. He wants to return to school even after fainting. Lucas convinces him to skip class. They'll enjoy some fresh air and grab a bite to eat. Rowan agrees. Finally, he reveals the reason for the clown's failure. Twice in a row, he'd probably fail for stepping on a Lego. That said, it's a serious injury. Time jump to their recovery session. Lucas wants the kid to devour a mountain of food to regain his strength. Suddenly, Rowan senses a faint mana signature nearby. He's determined to investigate. The redhead gives the go-ahead. They set off to explore the magic shop. First observation inside. The boy notices most items are infused with mana. Meanwhile, the vice captain's son is sneezing uncontrollably. Rowan has a sudden epiphany. He's completely broke. Penniless. He sulks, regretting not keeping even a little money from the shelter. But Lucas offers a solution. Spoil the kid. He promises to buy him whatever he needs. Consider it an extension of his father's request. Now that's a true friend. Everyone needs a Lucas. But Rowan's a hilarious cheapskate. He asks for literally everything in the shop. Lucas reveals a handful of coins. Clearly not a fortune. Enough for something, at least. The boy starts browsing. He seeks something affordable for his roommate. An object catches his eye. Its potent, dark mana draws him in. It's an egg, marked with a cryptic sigil. Fortunately, it's cheap. The shopkeeper approaches. He announces it's the Stone of Geisha. A curious ornament. Nothing more. Deemed unhatchable, it's considered worthless. Rowan's curiosity is piqued. What's inside? Even the shopkeeper doesn't know. Legend says the Stone of Geisha is a prison. It holds an unknown entity captive. The shopkeeper bought it on a whim. It garnered little interest, remaining dormant. The Stone of Geisha is just one of many magical artifacts. The boy's curiosity is piqued. Will breaking the seal truly trigger something? What happens if the seal is broken? The shopkeeper advises tempered expectation. It's a long shot, he explains, dependent on a rare spell. But Rowan is visibly intrigued. he recognizes the magic circle as incredibly advanced. It's exponentially more complex than a simple fireball, he realizes. He turns to his friend. "What do you think, Lucas?" Rowan asks. Lucas, ever the pragmatist, finds it far more interesting than any book. He imagines its potential for cracking skulls. A humorous thought. Rowan decides to buy the stone. He departs the shop, his prize in hand, a smile on his face. Evening approaches, but Lucas wants a memorable finale to their day. He proposes a visit to the Union's most impressive landmark. And there it is, the magnificent clock tower, rendering Rowan speechless. The clock tower, headquarters of the governor, and the commander. Lucas's single childhood memory of the former commander piqued Rowan's curiosity. Pressing for details, Rowan learned of a striking white suit. Further descriptions proved elusive. The commander, a majestic white swan, among a flock of black crow subordinates. Another detail unknown to the boy. Rowan understood the ranking system, but only superficially. Even a 7th-rank expert could single-handedly defend a city. Above them, the commander, a man of terrifying power, a one-man nation. That was true aura. Finally, the governor, the continent's ultimate authority, a king in all but name. From this vantage point, Rowan pondered the long journey ahead. Greatness was a distant peak, but ambition burned within him. He yearned to stand among legends. Someday, Rowan and Lucas found themselves at the Union's undisputed coolest spot. They lingered until dusk painted the sky with stars. Starry-eyed, the young man was captivated by the towering watchtower. Its immense height made it a beacon across the Union. Even the school offered glimpses of its grandeur. Curiosity piqued. He questioned Lucas about the red clock hand. He wanted to decipher their meaning. Lucas, the clueless one, scratched his head and squinted. Feigning deep thought, he strained his brain. Finally, he recalled the outer red band's character, signified the current year. A closer look revealed ancient language symbols. Dropping the pretense, Lucas confessed his analog clock illiteracy. Don't be a Lucas, chat. Rowan deciphered the clues, reading year 262. The year was displayed prominently on the watchtower, accurate considering the current kingdom year. Building on the initial deduction, Rowan interpreted the remaining faces. They likely indicated the month and day. June 14th, 262. 7:20 p.m. to be precise. A simple puzzle for Rowan. Yet Lucas, a local, remained clueless about clocks. The prodigy's fascination stemmed from a prior sighting. He'd seen it in a grim premonition. The tree's illusion revealed a devastating future, with the clock tower at its destructive center. Unless Rowan's memory deceives him, the clock read June 14th, 2:07 a.m., precisely a decade from now. After a lingering silence, the roommates finally headed back to their dorm. Ensuring Rowan's safety, Lucas grabbed his wooden sword and made for the door. He might slack off in class, but training? Never missed a day. Skipping even one day left him feeling sluggish. Alone, the prodigy wrestled with turbulent thoughts. The tree's apocalyptic vision haunted him. It might be more than an illusion. A premonition, a glimpse into the future. So, he had to try and change it. Seeking clarity, Rowan closed his eyes and entered his mind palette. First, he needed every available detail. He scanned his flawless memory bank. His recall was impeccable, photographic. He projected mental snapshots of the clock tower. Piece by piece, he rebuilt the scene with laser precision. Satisfied with the data, he advanced. Onto the next phase. He bridged the gaps in his perception, chronologically connecting each moment. Rowan isolated elements from the past that foreshadowed future fatalities. Buildings, rooftops. Their very structures were scrutinized. He recalled the runner's lifeless body, a victim of collapsing debris. The prodigy merged reality and premonition, painstakingly weaving together each frame. He distilled everything to its crucial core. The horrifying illusion resurfaced in his memory. He reconstructed the scene the enigmatic tree had shared. Seeking improvement, he honed in on key detail. Replaying the agonizing scene brought a moment of hesitation. The corpses scattered on the floor now mirrored the faces of his newfound friends. Sophie, Lucas, and even elder Sienna were there, lifeless. This was a future he vehemently rejected. The vision underscored his stark weakness. It foreshadowed his monumental failure. He needed to know his rank in the premonition. Among the fragmented visions, only one held the image of his future self. He sifted through the mental data reels until he located the lingering scene. From its initial perspective, his rank badge remained hidden in profile. Undeterred, Rowan's AI devised a way to shift the image's angle. This required a deeper dive into the burning union's collective consciousness. He needed to fully immerse himself in their shared vision. Details verified, Rowan shifted his focus. He turned to the image of his supposed future self, trapped within the frame. He believed he could reconstruct the vision's true event. His gaze locked onto future Rowan's chest, searching for the rank insignia. A chilling dread washed over young Rowan. Initially obscured, future Rowan's battered and bloodied form came into focus. Where his chest should have been, a gaping void remained. Exposed flesh and bone filled the horrific cavity. It appeared his friends weren't the only ones facing a grim fate. Rowan himself was destined for a brutal end. Shaken by the traumatic experience, young Rowan wrenched himself from the nightmare. He awoke, alone with his unsettling thoughts. Was the vision a warning from the tree itself? The Union's demise signaled the kingdom's downfall, and the entire continent faced devastation. The apocalypse, the utter annihilation of mankind. At least that's what he saw. The tree was born of dark magic, fueled by human life force, forged from the sacrifice of innocence. Teetering on the brink of death, amidst the horror, a cloaked figure emerged. Could this figure hold the key to unraveling this nightmare? Rowan remained skeptical. Was this vision real? To prevent this catastrophic future, he had to rewrite reality. Armed with limited knowledge, he had to start with himself. His future? A doomed battle, Ace versus Akainu at Marineford. His eventual rank? A mystery. Clad in the Union's black suit, perhaps avoiding membership could change everything. Perhaps a position in the management bureau awaits him. After all, they don the distinguished red suit. Or could he defy expectations entirely, aspire to the pristine white suit reserved solely for the command? A vision realized in a decade's time. Dawn broke, ushering in a new day. The roommates prepared to resume their studies. Yesterday's absence needed rectifying. Lucas reminded Rowan of a pending request. Professor Daphne awaited him at the faculty office. A pre-class meeting was scheduled. Relaying the message to his roommate, Lucas set off for campus alone. Intrigue stirred within Rowan. Why a private meeting with Professor Daphne? Donning his uniform, he sought answers. The faculty office was his destination. Daphne inquired after his well-being. Yesterday's health scare was cause for concern. Lucas had informed Rowan of. The professor streamlined the medical leave process to minimize any inconvenience. Professor Daphne worried the student had overextended himself with an excessive course load. She suspected he was drowning in the academic demand. She suggested adjustments to his schedule, but he was determined to attend every class without exception. He eagerly anticipated experiencing each and every course. Daphne felt a pang of responsibility for Rowan's collapse, but the ever-optimistic Rowan assured her it wouldn't happen again. One last time, she urged him to seek help if needed. Rowan offered his heartfelt gratitude. The meeting concluded and Rowan headed to his first class. Mana cultivation was now as effortless as breathing. Training no longer consumed his schedule. More importantly, he had a renewed sense of purpose. He was determined to help his friend grow alongside him. Rowan entered the classroom and was met with a wave of concerned glances. Word of his ordeal had spread. Fear for his safety was rampant. Their concern touched Rowan deeply. It fueled his determination to accelerate their ascent. Reaching the apex of power was their only hope. Survival depended on it. Rowan commanded the room's attention. He had a request for the entire class. First, he summoned Isidore Mersa. Then, Lien, Kirsten, and Edwin, followed by Darien, Tyrek, and Kalido, the magic-wielding students who shunned the sword. He then called upon Flora Sebastian, Apona Demas, Sabrina Wella, and Lucas, the muscle-bound crew who'd skipped every magic lecture. A collective awe swept the room. The rising star actually remembered their names. Relax. No need to memorize these NPCs. Intrigued, Sophie questioned Rowan's sudden class obsession. His hope? Everyone would join him, in both courses. He worried it was a big ask, but his charm had already won over the ladies. They'd follow him anywhere. The guys, though, not so keen on extra coursework. They'd already chosen their paths. Rowan understood. He just wanted them to shift their perspective. Actions speak louder than words. He decided to show, not tell. Time to broaden their perspectives. He turned to his unlikely roommate, the last person you'd expect at a magic show, and challenged him to a day of magic. With charm and conviction, Rowan rallied his classmates. How could they refuse such a charismatic plea? The Dean of Magic Studies himself, Professor Arthur, entered the hall. Every seat was filled, standing room only. Whispers of Rowan's magic campaign reached him. Word had spread, magic class was the place to be. A full house invigorated Arthur. All thanks to one enthusiastic student. Rowan had a simple goal, demystify magic, make it accessible. Rowan's infectious optimism piqued Professor Arthur's interest. When questioned about his presentation, Rowan requested platform access. The professor chuckled, granting him the stage. Beside Sophie, Lucas was torn between cringing and admiring his roommate's audacity. As Rowan prepared to present, a conversation unfolded outside. The union's busiest member was visiting a freshman class. At this early hour, Professor Daphne suspected Rowan's involvement. Director Lazarus confirmed Rowan was a factor. Beyond Rowan, school oversight fell under his bureau's purview. Besides the two union officers, Miss Sienna Runner was also present. Though off-duty, Vice Captain Oscar had assigned her a task. Forget the unassuming dark elf. Mr. Diego's presence was more intriguing. He'd left his sword training grounds, driven by freshman rumors of an extraordinary magic class. He enrolled today, ready to witness the spectacle firsthand. He had to see what all the excitement was about. At his side, the principal himself. The headmaster, accompanying Director Lazarus, found Professor Daphne facing a peculiar gathering of union elite. These esteemed individuals were sternly warned against any disruption. Observation only, no interference. Silence was paramount. Opening the door, Daphne was met with an inferno. Crimson flames danced, consuming the very air. Oxygen fueled the fiery spectacle. Yet, amidst the destructive blaze, stood its creator, a picture of pure awe. The young man radiated wonder. Elsewhere, Professor Arthur shielded the remaining students with a protective barrier. Rowan unleashes a stunning fireball, leaving Oscar speechless. Regardless of talent, a fireball is beyond the grasp of someone Rowan's age. Safety regulations forbid such potent magic for young students. Conjuring such intense flames surpasses first-year curriculum. Even Fire Arrow, a lesser spell, a step below fireball, remains beyond a first year's mastery. Fifth-year students barely grasp its complexity, and even then, only exceptional talent achieves true proficiency. How did this seemingly ordinary child unlock the secrets of such advanced magic? Magic he shouldn't even consider for years. The mesmerizing flames captivated everyone, obscuring the guest's arrival. The principal, transfixed by the fireball, witnessed unprecedented magical power. Such raw, refined energy felt almost divine, a scientific miracle. Diego, a master swordsman, even a skeptic would admit this spell's density is extraordinary. The stability impeccable. Director Lazarus might call it illogical, and he'd be right. First years shouldn't even attempt this level of magic. Technically, fireball is a basic spell, in theory, but Rowan's suspended fireball? Astonishing. Constant size, unwavering temperature, defying expectation. Logically, this is no ordinary fireball. Something more. This is magic of a different order entirely. Sienna had witnessed his raw talent firsthand. How could a child from a derelict shelter wield such potent, graceful magic? Mesmerized, Sienna watched the dancing flame. Suddenly, amidst the captivated audience, she snapped back to reality. Remember his recent incident, she cautioned the faculty. Concern etched her face. He might not be fully recovered. Let's not push him too hard, she urged. Shouldn't someone tell Rowan to rein it in? But the adults hesitated to interrupt such a dazzling display. Internally, Rowan relentlessly fueled the flames with his unique technique. Controlled mana flow trumps sheer size, he believed. He risked unleashing an unstable inferno. Uncontrolled mana was a dangerous game, but this was Rowan the prodigy after all. So no intervention was needed. Besides, Dean Arthur's barrier spell had captured his attention. It shielded the other children. Rowan sensed a structural resemblance between the barrier and the abyssal darkness he'd encountered. Similar form, perhaps, but vastly different in function. His mind wandered. What if his fireball collided with the barrier? Dismissing the thought, he addressed Professor Arthur. He commended the professor and inquired about the spell's name. Stunned, the old man couldn't answer. Sustaining such magic for this duration demands absolute concentration. Yet, this boy effortlessly converses, maintaining flawless control. Before things escalate further, Arthur's barrier contorted, engulfing the flame. Instead of resentment, Rowan felt only pure astonishment. Such skill was simply breathtaking. With a final gesture, the fireball vanished. A collective gasp filled the air. All eyes were on the young prodigy. Arthur was torn between reprimand and acclaim. Every magical rule had been shattered. In that very moment, Director Lazarus strode onto the stage. Applause rained down upon the boy, Answering his earlier query, Lazarus revealed the barrier was Arthur's signature magic. Upon hearing Azure Flame Barrier, the student turned to his professor, praising the impressive name. Arthur modestly deflected, claiming he wasn't responsible for the name, but this only highlighted the brilliance of the given name. Continuing the theme of names, the dean inquired about Rowan's fiery display. Confused, Rowan insisted it was just a simple fireball, nothing special. He downplayed it as an ordinary fireball, plain and simple, but any magic practitioner worth their salt knew that was no ordinary fireball. And Rowan especially should have known better. Rowan knew the truth. Averting his gaze, Rowan admitted to feigning ignorance. He hadn't named his technique. He confessed to not having considered a name. Arthur wanted to address the inherent danger of the displayed power, but Rowan was now fixated on naming his new ability. Director Lazarus interjected. As head of the bureau, he couldn't ignore what had just transpired. He questioned Rowan's reckless actions. As the performance neared its end, the boy's reply was direct and honest. He possessed unwavering confidence in his control over the fire. He trusted Professor Arthur's unwavering support. His sole purpose was to share his magic, regardless of the outcome. Rowan aimed to inspire his friends with the wonder of magic. Perhaps some peers, intrigued yet hesitant, were too afraid to explore its potential. The Dean of Magical Studies considered mastering a fireball before graduation exception. But what about a freshman exceeding all expectation? How would one describe such a feat? Rowan proved that limits are self-imposed. He shattered the illusion of impossibility. His optimism stemmed from unawareness of his own extraordinary talent. As an educator, however, Arthur felt a pang of embarrassment contemplating the implication. His words might have underestimated the younger generation's capability. But now, this child proved him wrong. His perspective wasn't universal. The boy turned to the dean and humbly requested more time. He had more to share. Next, the prodigy called his roommate Lucas. Lucas was called to the stage. The himbo was stunned. Why was he the guinea pig? He reluctantly approached the stage. At the podium, Rowan announced he'd helped the sword freak cast a spell. To Rowan, magic and swordsmanship were connected. Both manipulated mana, just in different ways. Lucas trained constantly, so magic should be possible. For the third time, magic theory was alien to the freshman. Casting a spell seemed impossible. Rowan suggested an incantation as a starting point. Given Lucas's lack of magical training, an incantation felt more instinctive than complex circles or formulas. He slowly uttered a fiery incantation. Words spoken in the ancient tongue. Lucas struggled to keep pace. The pronunciation proved challenging. Rowan's enthusiastic teaching was tested by Lucas's struggle, but a single sentence in the ancient language remained out of reach. He expected some familiarity with the old tongue, especially from a third-year repeater. Yet hope remained. Rowan persisted. He translated the incantation to convey the meaning they sought to unleash. He began a rhythmically peculiar, poem-like recitation. The old-school vibe made Lucas cringe inwardly. Rowan continued the translated incantation. He observed his classmates seated and increasingly bewildered with every passing word. Confusion washed over the young prodigy. A feeling of helplessness followed. He'd assumed sharing his knowledge would be simple, but his message seemed lost on everyone. If they struggled now at the very start, what grim future awaited them? In 10 years, if no one improved, Rowan would be at a loss. He began with the simplest incantation imaginable. Something even Lucas should grasp, he thought. Yet not just the others. Even Sophie seemed completely baffled. As if Rowan spoke a foreign tongue. The wonder boy froze. Beside him, Lucas felt a pang of worry. Before the situation could worsen, Dean Arthur intervened. He commended Rowan on his first mini-lecture. He then boldly asked Rowan for the modified incantation's formula. He wanted to learn it too. Rowan's despair vanished, replaced by a spark of purpose. With a flick of his wrist, a piece of chalk levitated into the air. He began inscribing a complex formula onto the blackboard, his hand guided by unseen forces. A wave of awe and amusement washed over the audience. His telekinetic display was mesmerizing. Rowan worked swiftly, mapping out the intricacies of his spell. Dean Arthur summoned his protective barrier again, shielding those on stage from potential backlash. Director Lazarus and the dean scrutinized the intricate script on the board. Questioned about the formula's origin, Rowan insisted he hadn't copied it. He'd witnessed Professor Arthur's work and reimagined. He'd made it his own. Discerning eyes recognized that this was more than a simple modification. The boy effortlessly tweaked the spell. He personalized it for optimal performance. Oblivious to the implications, he just claimed to invent a new spell formula. The director and dean exchanged knowing looks. This called for a serious discussion. A private meeting was in order. Before departing, Director Lazarus thanked the boy for his groundbreaking display. Meanwhile, the dean inquired about the dark elf's name. Sienna of the Pillar of Faith offered a formal introduction. Then, abruptly, the dean made Sienna responsible for the rest of the lecture. Any subject would suffice. Self-study or sword practice, it didn't matter. Safety was the priority. Professor Diego also abandoned his class, leaving poor Sienna to deal with the aftermath. Before leaving, Arthur shattered the students' isolation. The other adults convened to address a dire issue, a matter of utmost urgency, leaving Sienna to manage a classroom brimming with eager novices. The lecture hall erupted in a cacophony, a flurry of whispers about the recent event. Sienna silenced them with a resounding slam of her hand on the table. That single action immediately instilled order. Sienna, champion of the Pillar of Faith, was temporarily tasked with leading the remaining lesson. This was to be a proper class, she declared, and the students were expected to treat it as such. Full participation was mandatory, just as with any professor. Sienna may have appeared composed and authoritative, but she was in unfamiliar territory. Teaching wasn't her forte. Her battlefield was the front lines, not the classroom. The faculty, including those who witnessed Rowan's display, were assembled for a meeting. Some of the less informed instructors. The Emergency Response Committee's summons sent shockwaves through the staff, a gathering unseen for years. Sheer terror for some. Director Lazarus, for once, was all business. Composed as ever, he laid out the primary concern. Union Academy's educational policy was on the line. He began with Rowan's case, the catalyst for this urgent assembly. Dean Arthur stepped forward, presenting the fact. A fireball unlike anything he'd witnessed in his long career. A freshman's radical reinterpretation of a complex spell. The power was minimal, but the alteration was undeniable. A unique spell was born. His ability to effortlessly deconstruct and modify a formula was unheard of. Skepticism lingered among some professors, but their doubts were powerless. The Dean of Magic Studies had already investigated and confirmed every detail. Director Lazarus, and promised further bureau analysis. For the time being, they had to acknowledge the possibility of a groundbreaking magical discovery by a child, a completely new conceptual approach to magic itself. Rowan seemed undeniably brilliant, perhaps even a once-in-a-generation talent, but as an academy, their duty was to ensure he received an age-appropriate education. Some advocated for their established method. However, others argued that a genius like Rowan required specialized instruction, education tailored to his exceptional abilities. Individualized learning plans clashed with their public institutions' principle. The stakes were high. They couldn't risk squandering such potential due to poor management and losing an exceptional individual. One professor suggested early union membership for Rowan. That proposal was met with immediate resistance. Practical field experience was deemed crucial, regardless, but a thorough assessment was paramount. The professors were left with a critical question. Any other reservations about the boy? Dean Arthur paused, lost in thought. Finally, he spoke. Rowan, he suggested, might have some personality quirk. Other professors had only heard good things. The boy was reportedly nothing but courteous and kind. The dean didn't disagree. His concern, Rowan lacked empathy. He needed to consider his peers' feelings. The union prioritized talent and results. With Rowan's abilities, he'd inevitably shine within any order, but acceptance could prove challenging in his current state. He might falter at the final hurdle, the character assessment interview. Some professors defended Rowan. They believed his actions were well-intentioned. He unintentionally caused discomfort. He simply lacked social awareness. A balance was needed for everyone to thrive. The prodigy's skill gap is astronomical compared to his freshman peers. This child possesses the power to revolutionize magic itself. He could single-handedly disrupt the established magical order. Stumped, the council needed a new approach, so Director Lazarus stepped in. He suggested a direct interview with the boy wonder. A brilliant idea, met with unanimous approval. Moments later, Rowan was ushered into the faculty chamber. He found himself at the adults' table. Professor Daphne tried to ease his apprehension. She inquired about his well-being. She suspected the Lucas incident weighed heavily on him. Her intuition was spot on. Rowan was troubled by his inability to gauge his friend's true power. Dean Arthur offered words of consolation, emphasizing the complexities of magical instruction. Today's events had driven that lesson home. Lost in thought, Rowan began formulating theory. Some students had observed the magic lesson during their break. Perhaps magic simply doesn't appeal to Lucas. Did he embrace the sword too soon? Did it sharpen his mind for combat alone? Did Rowan steer Lucas toward a different path? Did he disregard Lucas's own desires? Shame and regret washed over him. Beyond these doubts, a new worry surfaced. Were Lucas and his friends unwell? He deemed his ordinary peers sick. For possessing ordinary gifts, Dean Arthur reassured Rowan there was no illness. The elder's words soothed his anxieties. Relief eased the prodigy's troubled heart. Rowan's smile prompted Director Lazarus to inquire about his passion for teaching magic. Magic wasn't the sole objective. He yearned to grow stronger with his companions. Together, they could join the union, touched by the child's pure response. Doubts about Rowan vanished into thin air. Pride and approval shone in Professor Daphne's eye. Rowan was dismissed. Meeting adjourned. Success. Time for Rowan to rest. Hours later, ink flowed, a flurry of activity. The new first-year curriculum was taking shape. Personalized pacing for every student. Individualized learning, academic goals, reaching for the top, social and emotional growth, finding common ground. Union Academy, charting a new course. The future is coming. Imagine, reshaping education with your brilliance. Faculty burned the midnight oil, perfecting the plan. Sunrise. Action. Curriculum overhaul, implemented. Effective immediately. Training grounds buzzed with anticipation. Professor Diego took the stage. Mandatory, swordsmanship and magic. No exceptions. Lucas's yawns drowned out the announcement. The sudden shift surprised Rowan. Active union members will now assist in every class. They'll serve as assistant instructors. Students, ask questions freely. Maximize your learning. Learn from real-world expertise. Rowan, along with Sophie and Lucas, will train exclusively together. They'll rotate sparring partners. Lucas relished the format. He was eager to test his roommate. Sophie shared his enthusiasm, a chance to measure her swordsmanship. Against the very best, Lucas immediately challenged Rowan. Sophie waited her turn. Her wooden sword was quickly disarmed in an instant. She'd hoped for a better showing. Hope seemed distant now. Rowan, a monstrously skilled opponent, deciphered her every move. Surrender, however, wasn't an option. A fleeting opening appeared, but she missed her chance. With more rigorous training, she could potentially land significant blows and recover quickly. She offered Rowan a respectful handshake. And a question, did he spot any glaring weaknesses in her technique? Rowan casually pointed out a slight flaw in her mana flow. Adjusting its direction, he suggested, would yield immediate improvement. Lucas interjected with a blunt simplification. Stop swinging wildly. Control your attack. Precision over power. He also noted her unsteady footwork, likely stemming from a lack of strength. Rowan agreed, though finding Lucas a bit harsh. But the dummy, as Rowan called him, had a valid point. But that's not the whole story. Sophie's currently dividing her mana equally 50-50. It's a perfect split between her upper and lower body. If she shifts more mana to her lower body, she'll gain stability and a much stronger stance. Rowan offered insightful guidance. While Lucas playfully teased, Professor Diego smiled, watching his top students interact. Their unique dynamic brought a smile to his face. He found it unbelievable that Arthur ever considered Rowan to have personality problems. Rowan's kind heart was clear to see. The adult's worries seemed completely unfounded. Days passed, and Professor Daphne summoned Rowan to her office. She'd become his steadfast supporter, ensuring he had everything he needed. Rowan's worries about his friends had vanished. He understood them better now. He knew their strengths and their flaws. Daphne was relieved he'd learned empathy. He finally understood his classmates. School was a positive influence on Rowan. Friends, cheers, and snacks, he had it all. But some girls' requests were baffling. Their desires were a mystery. Post-class shopping and flower viewing? Puzzle. These activities seemed utterly unrelated to academic. Daphne laughed at his charming predicament. Young love was in the air. After all, Rowan's go-to response to any invitation was a study session. Lethal nerd game strong. Her little brother was navigating the world of girls. Daphne inquired about any female friends. Sophie immediately sprang to mind. She was unique among her peers. A skilled swordswoman. And the only other first year, a fire-wielding prodigy. He's recently grown close to her. Learning Sophie's story changed everything. He found himself drawn to the unfortunate girl, Sophie, an illegitimate daughter of the prestigious Pobel family. Her father used her for political gain, enrolling her in the Union strengthened diplomatic tie. The stigma of her birth weighs heavily on her. To Rowan, Sophie is a cherished friend, a source of invaluable lessons. And then there's Lucas. The trio are inseparable. Rowan marvels at Lucas's sheer strength. Even Lucas has wisdom to offer, despite being all brawn. Lately, Rowan developed a peculiar theory about his room. He suspects Lucas's intense sword training has bulked up his brain. Hence, the aversion to studying. Rowan's mental image of Lucas's brain is downright devilish. Disturbingly, it might be accurate. The guy can't even tell time. Rowan's been playing guardian angel to the clueless Lucas just to keep him from bombing freshman year again. He sees it as his duty as a righteous individual. Daphne was slightly unnerved, but she'd accepted this quirk long ago. Geniuses, she knew, often have peculiar perspective. After Daphne's session, he went to Dean Arthur's office. His constitution was the issue. Given his extraordinary abilities and unparalleled talents, pity for his subpar constitution was hard to muster. He knew it seemed greedy, but Rowan had reasons for craving stronger magic. There were ways to boost one's constitution, mana-amplifying magical tools, for instance, or items containing potent spells. Those options sound tempting, but they're incredibly difficult to achieve. If it were easy, everyone would be a mage. Money can buy magic tools, but they're either one-use or cheap, low-level junk, hardly helpful for the kind of magic Rowan seeks. Useless for Rowan's ambitions. The alternative? Enhancing one's constitution with elixir. Elixirs offer a different path. These potent potions replenish mana, heal ailments, expand mana capacity, and crucially strengthen the constitution. They come in countless variations, each incredibly rare. Take Reddle's fruit, for instance. It's no wonder it's so valuable on the black market. Even if Rowan finds one, there's no guarantee it will be potent enough. A significant boost is far from certain. Don't lose hope yet. He's just a boy. Dean Arthur removed his necklace, offering it to his star student. The locket held a precious elixir, a gift from the governor himself, a reward for a past triumph. Perhaps it was destiny for his most gifted pupil. Rowan hesitated, overwhelmed by the gift's value. The dean insisted it was nothing, useless to him now. Hesitantly, the boy accepted the white pill. Finding his courage, he swallowed it whole, feeling it instantly dissolve. Adrift in a self-made ocean, the elixir spread like wildfire. On the verge of a revelation, he was jolted back in the dean's office. Seated, his disappointment palpable, the dean concluded the pill was ineffective. Rowan confirmed the dean's assessment. Arthur hadn't anticipated a miraculous cure. He knew it wouldn't fundamentally alter the boy's physique, but the utter lack of progress was discouraging. Rowan had foreseen this outcome. Instead of seeking external solutions, his time was better spent revolutionizing magic itself. As it stood, he would deconstruct existing formulas and master mana manipulation. He would forge his own magical discipline, tailor-made for his unique needs. The visit wasn't entirely fruitless. He could now fully concentrate on a solution. 6 months had passed since the old man's intervention. Don't worry, it was harmless. Today was the freshman magic studies final exam. Rowan faced the panel. Dean Arthur and Director Lazarus awaited. Without a word, he conjured twin fireballs in his palm. The old masters were visibly awed. Such skill left them utterly captivated. Rowan then amplified the flames, pushing the magic further. Though a common sight, Rowan's direct mana manipulation was always mesmerizing. His talent was undeniable. At this pace, he might soon blend other magical disciplines. Despite the accolades, Rowan doubted its practical use. He feared such magic was too weak for the Union. Dean Arthur reassured him. Incantation-less spell casting alone proved his fourth-class mage potential. His high-level mage qualification was indisputable. No one could deny his advanced abilities. He was already a high-ranking mage in skill. He needed to prioritize his unique strengths, not destructive power. Focus on his advantages and continue his steady progress. Rowan should stay his current course. The dean challenged him, analyze and replicate up to fourth-class spell. He'll rely on his own intuition. He's granted unrestricted access to the library's ancient texts. They hold the secrets to his unique constitution. His condition is a matter of utmost secrecy. For now, this information must remain confidential. The secret is safe within these walls with just us three. To ensure confidentiality, the dean and director forged a mage's pact. They clasped hands and chanted a cryptic hymn, oblivious to the pact's significance. Rowan simply saw two old friends engaging in a peculiar ritual. It was just another bizarre interruption during his exam. A year flew by. Rowan and his friends began their third year at Union Academy. Professor Diego urgently summoned his colleague. It was a matter demanding immediate attention. Though within his authority he needed to share this crucial issue, he felt compelled to consult with the faculty. Henceforth, Rowan's training would change drastically. He would no longer be taught mana-based movement technique. Martial arts and swordsmanship utilizing mana were strictly forbidden. A shadow of worry crossed their faces. The room buzzes with curiosity over the unexpected news. Diego states the obvious. Rowan is determined to join the Union. Now a third year. He needs to avoid high-risk endeavors. Practical combat is out. Diego's message is clear. Rowan should prioritize magic. It's what Rowan needs, it's what he desires. Dean Arthur, of all people, understands this. He knows Rowan is a talent worth keeping. Letting him go would be a monumental loss. For the future's sake, Diego's choice, though difficult, is the right one. It was a tough call, but necessary. Sienna Runner, now a faculty member, having joined a year and a half ago, inquires about Rowan's combat prowess. Diego's honest assessment. Rowan could pass the test by simply drawing his sword. The Union's initial entrance exam. He possesses a rare, innate talent. His destructive capabilities are somewhat underdeveloped, but that can be honed over time. Speaking of strength, Daphne inquired about Rowan's magical prowess. She asked the dean how powerful Rowan had become. After a pregnant pause, Dean Arthur declared that Rowan was beyond his tutelage. He surpassed anything Arthur could teach. Rowan wields first and second-class magic with ease. He's deciphering third-class spells, too. A prodigy, he treats complex formulas like plaything. He's a force of nature, still just a third year. A monstrous talent barely into his third year. Now in his growth spurt, he's irresistible. The golden boy charms everyone. He's a heartbreaker, so the author made him a bookworm. Third-year magic studies commenced with their first lecture. The lecture concluded uneventfully. Dean Arthur issued assignment reminders. He then requested a brief word with Rowan. Rowan was asked to stay after class. The dean wanted to discuss the exchange tournament. The tournament offered a magic scholarship. It was scheduled to commence shortly. Their homegrown Union Academy genius was the ideal representative. Undeniably, this event was news to Rowan. Despite his 3 years at the academy, it had been an occasional event. A forum for exchanging magical insights, discontinued as the age of magic dwindled. Its revival was attributed to Rowan. The dean's claim stunned Rowan. Rowan's renown had reached Shuren. Shuren, an independent duchy, the last of the 7 kingdoms. Shuren, home to the legendary Magic Tower, a bastion of arcane knowledge and development. The Tower Master also rules as Duke, and they remain largely secluded. Schwerin is undeniably the epicenter of modern magic. Arthur himself originated from Schwerin. He trained there, achieving third-class high mage status. Before joining the Union, as a native, he understands their mindset. He believes curiosity drives these mages above all else. Their primary motivation. Schwerin's knowledge of the Union remains uncertain, but they undoubtedly know the basics. News of a 4th-class mage at the Union Academy must have reached these magic fanatics. Despite the title's prevalence, Rowan hesitates to claim 4th class for himself. He lacks the necessary destructive power. This event's true purpose, an academic conference to examine groundbreaking first-hand accounts, a pure magic study deep dive. Schuerman always seeks an advantage. They likely crave a debate with the Union's golden boy. On one hand, Rowan skipping this challenge might be wise, but the prize might prove irresistible. The Union offers perks, a tailored schedule, a customized menu, in exchange for an elixir. Even after last year's setback, an elixir's allure remains potent. This could mean Schuerman knows his secret. They might know about his constitution. The dean, impossible. They can't know. This debate centers on interpreting magic formula. The elixir rewards masterful understanding. Superior knowledge equals elixir victory. Rowan's chance, an elixir within his grasp. All from a simple argument. The dean guaranteed the elixir. If Rowan secured victory for the Union, a chance at a major win, how could he refuse? Days later, the magical scholarly exchange arrived. Schwerin brought cloaked mages. A full battalion. Union countered with Rowan and his professor. Dean Arthur, the mediator, politely greeted the visitors. Mage Bert revealed his face, addressing Arthur as his senior. A mage named Bert? Seriously? Rowan quietly assessed his opponents. Schuerman's team, older, more experienced, and radiating potent mana. Students, nonetheless. Eager to learn from a Schuerman legend. Union's stance, Rowan was their sole champion. Schwartzen fielded 3 older students against a mere child. Some magicians never learn. They're still desperate to prove their prowess. Ironically, this benefits both the Union and Rowan. When Rowan was introduced as the Union's representative, Bert feigned surprise. While the adults exchanged pleasantries, the competitors sized each other up. Rowan felt a Sharon student's stare and offered a smile. Flustered, the student quickly looked away after a handshake. The afternoon's competition would be held in the main hall. Hours later, the audience filled the seats, eager to witness the mental showdown. The Union had set the stage. Some younger students worried about Rowan facing 3 opponents alone. They feared for their seniors' well-being. The girls roared their support. Lucas's eardrums nearly shattered as a nearby voice interrupted. "This isn't a duel, it's a magical debate, not a fight to the death." The ladies countered. "Words can wound as deeply as any weapon. What if Senior Rowan is hurt by cruel word?" Lucas was stunned. They even knew Rowan. Rowan's constant companion was hard to miss. At his side, Sophie. They came to witness their friend's verbal victory. Professor Daphne stepped forward and declared the magical exchange open. The enthusiastic juniors brandished a Rowan banner, a bit much for debate, not exactly standard debate decorum. Finally, the main event arrived. The Schwein trio was also in attendance. With everyone assembled, Daphne outlined the rules and format. Each representative would present their chosen topic. Spell formulas are required in your response. Let's proceed with the Q&A. Our first debater is Ali Marco, representing Sharon. He's up against Rowan from Union Academy. Rowan had first pick of the topic and chose a subject close to his heart, telekinesis. The Sharon representatives were, shall we say, surprised. To put it mildly, the opening round was unexpected. It's typical to start strong by showcasing your faction's greatest achievement, but Union's representative chose a simple Class 1 spell, telekinesis. Some from Sharon thought it was a joke, that the rumors of Rowan's skill were exaggerated. They hadn't come to witness such basic magic. Dean Arthur and Director Lazarus remained silent. Only Marco openly dismissed Rowan's choice. He deemed telekinesis unworthy of such a prestigious forum. When questioned about mocking Sharon, Rowan clarified his position. He argued that even simple telekinesis possessed hidden complexity, worthy of in-depth analysis. Only Marco countered, claiming such a basic spell was a waste of time. Analyzing it would be frivolous. But aren't mages expected to dedicate themselves to uncovering truth, regardless of its scale? Losing his patience, Ali agreed to Rowan's telekinesis debate. Unfamiliar with the format, he didn't want to appear discourteous. Rowan inquired about Ali's chosen topic. He vastly underestimated the Union's representative. Marco suggested debating the nuances of fireball. He condescendingly implied that such a topic might be too challenging for Rowan, but he was willing to dumb it down for the occasion. Arthur believed Schuerman. Word of Rowan's fiery feat must have reached him. News of Rowan's fireball manifestation had spread. He was laying an ambush, but the prodigy blindsided everyone. He proposed a combined analysis, telekinesis and fireball, together. A package deal. He believed a dual study would yield deeper understanding. Analyzing 2 renowned spells at once, rather than individual. Actions speak louder than words. Rowan grabbed some chalk. With a flick of his wrist, Rowan lifted the chalk telekinetically. He began inscribing his initial formula on the board. Ali bristled at the blatant display of chantless magic. Refusing to be outdone, Ali mirrored Rowan, using telekinesis to write, but with chanting. His incantations fueled the spell as he scribbled his counter-argument. All eyes were riveted on the board. They strained to decipher Rowan's cryptic writing. Could he actually be formulating a new spell? Improvising a fusion of 2 distinct spells? Surely not. Board work concluded. Debaters were tasked with explaining their spells and formulating questions. Time to prep for the Q&A. First up, Ali. He flawlessly detailed the formulas for telekinesis and fireball. These spells are ancient and well-established, mainstays since the era of the legendary wizard, standardized and perfected over time, leaving no room for further refinement. Only Marco offered a definitive statement. Now Rowan's turn to interpret. He approached the podium, composing himself. He explained telekinesis as a fundamental spell, accessible to anyone with even a sliver of mana. His initial argument, the spell's overuse and reliance on raw power, its dependence on the user's magical strength. But Ali's earlier input sparked an idea. Inspiration struck, a daring new concept, combining 2 established spells. His chalkboard displays 2 groundbreaking equations, rewrites of established formulas. The first, telekinetic fireball manipulation. And the second, well, it's more fun to show you. That chalk he's been mentally flicking and spinning? It's accelerating with each rotation. Building speed, creating friction, generating heat. A fiery vortex ignites. Just moments ago, He devised a method to transform a telekinetically controlled object into a scorching projectile. The audacity! He dissected magic itself, just for kicks. The onlookers are utterly dumbfounded. Everything they knew about magic is now in question. If you're not aware of Rowan's prowess, this would be utterly mind-blowing. Fortunately, the Union Academy faculty is accustomed to his brilliance. This kid isn't just gifted, he's overwhelmingly prodigious. His intellect and analytical abilities are simply extraordinary. With chalk fire swirling continuously, Rowan continued to astound the visitors. He effortlessly explained complex concepts related to the seemingly simple basic spell. None of Sharon's senior students could follow along, let alone the younger representatives. Listening to Rowan, Ali Marco felt like he'd foolishly challenged a god. After his masterful display, Rowan asked Ali Marco for his input. Could he offer any corrections? Had Rowan missed something crucial? But here's the kicker. Rowan's desire to learn is completely genuine. Ali's lost and clueless. He can't replicate or comprehend. He's about to be demolished by magic incarnate in a child's form. Time's ticking down and humiliation looms. Fear tightened its grip. Ali felt suffocated, overwhelmed. He erupted in a cough, blood trickling from his nose. Verbally annihilated. He was out cold. Even Rowan hadn't anticipated such a dramatic outcome. With Ali rushed to the infirmary, Rowan's winning streak continued, obliterating opponent. With cold, hard facts and irrefutable logic, his victory secured him the coveted elixir. Bert, the mage, readily handed over the prize. Thankful for the exhilarating display. Despite the mage's loss, Bert advised patience before consuming the potent elixir. Drinking it too young could trigger unwanted side effects. Graduation would be a safer time for consumption. 2 more years to wait. After that mage beat down, let's check in with some NPCs. Meet Rita. Like our protagonist, she's a Union Academy 3rd year. She's harbored a secret crush on Rowan for 3 years. Rita knew he was universally adored at the academy. Not a single student disliked him. Confessions were a constant. Over half the incoming class chose Union Academy just for him. All to be near him. Rita doubted she even registered on his radar. For 3 years, she'd loved him silently from a distance. Today she'd be brave. The last day of their 3rd year, confession day. 3 years of fear conquered. Her confession was met with a gentle rejection. For Rowan, love was cherishing a memory, nothing more. Someone lost, held close. His bleak outlook on love shocked Rita. He questioned her feelings. Was it truly love? True love, he claimed, mimicked madness. He was overwhelmed by joy, ecstasy, compassion, longing, anticipation, fear, doubt, jealousy, embarrassment, and even rage. He'd wager a fortune that she doesn't feel that intensely for him. Don't misunderstand Rowan, he's not dismissing her feeling. Perhaps she does have feelings. Maybe it's attraction due to his looks or status. Maybe she felt a thrill, some excitement. But is that truly love? Wouldn't admiration be more fitting? He's simply asking Rita for some honest introspection. If she's still convinced it's love, he's willing to discuss it further. Rowan's always up for a productive conversation. After all, he's a master of gentle rejection. Rita experienced the sting of his polite refusal. It felt like a brutal blow. Clarity has unexpectedly arrived. This is Rita, reborn. After 3 years of unrequited love, heartbreak struck. The pain was sharp, the lesson learned, yet regret remains absent. To confess your love takes courage and meaning. It's an act of bravery and honesty. Rita's unrequited love concluded on her final day of junior year, and a sense of liberation washed over her. Embrace your inner